part of the package is the new controller, right? And this is quite different from the initial Steam Machines controller, the initial Steam controller that we had back in 2015, which was very, very different to a standard joypad.
Yeah, that initial Steam Machine controller, that initial Steam controller is kind of an alien-looking device, because in the portions where you normally have two thumbsticks, you have dual D-pads / touchpads, right?
Yeah.
And you don't actually have a formal D-pad, nor do you have a second analog stick. So you're basically being asked to use one of these touchpads for camera control in 3D games. And I have used one of these devices before. I don't have one here on hand, but I have used one. And I will say it's very awkward. It's very awkward. It's a weird feeling. This actually feels like an evolution, right? It's been 10 years since that device launched. It's an evolution of that, but it's so better in so many ways, and it takes so many learnings from the Steam Deck itself to actually make a really good controller for PC and kind of console controller games on the PC. So it has all the controls you'd expect, plus dual trackpads below the sticks, a dedicated Steam button, a Steam Quick Action menu button, and 4 back buttons. It feels very much like the Steam Deck, except that the ergonomics of the device are very different. It's kind of sculpted to fit your hand instead of being flat like the Steam Deck is. It's like the dual trackpads, for instance, are canted slightly inwards to give your thumbs a more comfortable place to rest, and it feels very, very good in the hand. And also the buttons feel slightly different in some ways. The sticks feel fairly similar. The face buttons feel very similar. The triggers have a bit more of a pull to them, I would say. And the top trigger buttons, the kind of RB, LB equivalents, those have a mushier actuation instead of the clicky, snappy actuation on the Steam Deck. It has gyro controls, as you might expect. Again, more Steam Deck functionality. It has magnetic thumbsticks using a technology called TMR that they're saying is an evolution over Hall Effect. So presumably, similar to Hall Effect, if not better. And it should have impacts on durability, right? A better actuation of the stick over its lifetime, but a potentiometer, right? Or other technologies there. It has a feature called Grip Sense, which is really cool, where the controller can sense if you're gripping the unit or if your fingers are off the back of the unit using capacitive sensors, which can be used as an additional modifier or input. So the example of the functionality they showed me, and I have a demo running here of myself using this functionality, is disabling gyro aiming when you aren't gripping the controller. So you can reposition your arms without having to recenter your aim by lifting your fingers off the back of the controller. And they were showing it to me in the game Balatro, right? Which normally has quite good controller support, but in this case, they were showing me the ability to use the trackpads as an input, as a kind of replacement for mouse functionality in this game, or indeed the gyro, to move the cards around, which I thought was kind of interesting. Those are unique functionalities you're going to get on this controller using those new input methods. It has haptic feedback on the trackpads, just like Steam Deck. It also has haptic motors in the controller itself. They're quoting kind of HD rumble functionality. It feels very good, feels very responsive, much stronger than the Steam Deck, which is quite weak. So yeah, it feels great. In terms of connectivity, it connects via a Steam controller puck, which is this little dongle that can also connect to the controller magnetically to charge it. It also has a USB Type-C port in it, by the way, if you want to charge it using that. And it has a wireless connection they say should be rock solid. It uses a proprietary wireless standard. But you can connect it via Bluetooth or wired instead if you want to. And the Steam Machine itself comes with a Steam controller, and it can be powered on using the Steam controller directly with a hit of the Steam button, right? That's functionality you see on other consoles. It's functionality we're going to see here, at least if you're using that Steam controller. So my feelings on this, I think this is way better than that OG Steam controller. This is definitely going to be great for times when you're gaming and you need mouse input, right? So you need to navigate errant controller elements, like we often see in PC games using SteamOS, because on Steam Deck, you have this nice dual functionality of being able to use the touchpad or the touchscreen or the trackpads, right? So here we're getting some of that functionality with the trackpads. We have that ability to navigate those interfaces. They also will have a Steam Machine verified program they talked to me about that will apply basically to the combination of a Steam Machine plus Steam controller. So they're not going to have a verified program for a generic controller, but they think they can have a verified program that will work well for the Steam Machine plus the Steam controller. I also think this is going to be an amazing device for traditional PC games, or at least games that can be adapted to some degree. And the one that comes to mind for me is World of Warcraft. Because if you install certain mods, you can actually play the game really effectively with the controller, but sometimes you do need cursor input. And up until now, I've been using a DualShock 4 for that. This seems like a much better device for that, with its back buttons, with its great trackpads, with everything. So yeah, I think this is really cool. I think it's going to be a great Windows controller as well, because you have that ability to navigate all those cumbersome interface elements that previously you'd have no good way to navigate or use. In this controller, you do have that functionality. So I think it's a really cool controller. I think people are really going to like it. I really like it. I'm really into it. But it does seem, and this is a kind of recurring theme with this device, that they make a lot of specific accommodations and adjustments to make this controller good in the context of an operating system that might, God forbid, present you with a window at some point, and you have to navigate it. And this is making that experience a lot better, a lot more usable.